Welcome to Timeout, a podcast that brings creatives together for helpful and insightful discussions. So sit back and enjoy the show. Hey, how's it going, Megan?
I'm not bad. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm excited to bring the podcast back. It's been a while, so I might be a bit
Oh, yeah.
rusty, but I'm excited to just talk to you about your journey, what you're up to, how things have been since everything's happened, and just give a bit of advice for creatives in similar positions and just see where you're going to go next year.
Yep.
So, for people who don't know anything about you, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Megan Healey. I'm a fashion photographer from Manchester. I shoot a lot of portrait, black and white. I shoot a lot for agencies, clothing brands, dancers. Sometimes I shoot for like family portraits and things like that.
So, you're quite a nice all rounder photographer
Yeah,
then.
kind of all round, but still, it's like a all round, but still sticking to the portrait, not like landscape and stuff
And
like that.
that's your thing. Like, if you had to pick one sort of like category, it would just be doing portrait photography.
100%, yeah.
Wicked. What even got you into photography?
Oh, this is so random. Actually asked me this the other day. I was actually on holiday about 4 years ago, and I was in a greenhouse. So random, and I just took a picture of a butterfly on my phone, and it was a rubbish picture. Looking back at it now, it was so horrible, but it was I don't know. It just sparked something in me. I think it was the colors of the photo, which is so weird because now I shoot black and white. So I think it was
Well,
just the
we'll definitely
color.
get to that, but I think like
Yeah,
a lot of people's journey starts from the mobile phone, doesn't it?
yeah. It was definitely the mobile phone phase of photography that got me into it.
And now you're here. That's so cool.
Yeah,
What gear do you use? Just for like people that don't know, what you're rocking.
I use the Canon 16 Mark II, and the lenses I shoot with the 35mm f2, the Canon one, the Canon 100mm f2.8, and the Canon 24 to 105 f4.
That's a pretty big upgrade from a phone 4 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely,
So
yeah.
it's taken you 4 years to, let's say, go full into full-time photography.
Yeah, basically, I didn't really touch a camera since from 2016. That was when I first took that first photo. Um, After that, I didn't touch a camera for about a year. Then I got a 700D, Canon 700D, and I was messing about. I wasn't really shooting um, pictures. I was more shooting videos. I was in college at the time. I was doing more like maths and science and stuff like that. And I dropped out to then do media. So I
Mm-hmm.
was doing media in college, and then I dropped out. No, I finished that. Sorry, I didn't drop out then. I finished that, and then I took a gap year, and then I did photography for like 4 months in uni last year, and then I just ended up leaving just to do this full time. It just wasn't for me at uni. I just
Yeah,
wanted
that's an
to.
interesting point because a lot of people in your situation debating whether they should study photography as a course at uni
Mm.
or college and things like that. How old are you right now?
I'm 22. I was 22 last month.
Wicked, happy belated birthday.
Thanks.
But do you need to go to uni to do photography? Because what's the deal with like in today's sort of society? Is it essential like in the industry that we're working in? What do you think has been your experience with it? Has it made you like any less effective by not going there?
Not at all. To be fair, it depends. If you have I never did photography in education, so I never did it in school, never did it in college. I've always been self-taught, um, but I don't know if I don't know if that's had an effect on me going to uni and not liking the way it was kind of brought upon me. I don't know, but I feel like if you kind of have a background in the education, I feel like it would probably be okay. But because I was self taught and I kind of was learning as I was going, learning as I was working, that's how I was progressing. But that, and also I wasn't getting the most out of going doing like documentary photography, when I wanted to be a fashion photographer. It just wasn't something I was doing. I felt like I was wasting a bit of time. Like, I was experimenting, and people sometimes experiment and find new things that they wanted to do. But I was experimenting and I wasn't finding anything new that I wanted to be doing. And like some people, like, I don't really shoot film. Some people go there and they shoot film, and then they find something new and they shoot film, or complete opposite. They go and shoot digital, and then they find something new and they like to shoot digital. I just wasn't finding that with film, so I just completely took a step back. Maybe if I would have like kept it a couple more months, I might have found something new that I like, but I just wasn't finding that. So I just kind of left it, and just I wanted to stay in my own zone because my career was kind of like taking off, and I just didn't want anything
Mm-hmm.
distracting me, and I'd kind of had less time to like think about my own career and have I didn't have a lot of time to do my own jobs, to edit, to plan, to do post production, to do pre production. And it just wasn't. Plus, my uni work was just like dropping like that because I
Just
wanted
felt
to
like your
focus
attention
on.
was going in
Yeah,
the
my
in a
my
different
attention.
area.
Yeah, it wasn't. And my tutor, she was lovely. She kind of was like, "You've got this. You got this head on your shoulders. You've got like this. You know where you want to go." Like, she kind of knew that I didn't really need to be there, but not in like a big heady way. But I had this portfolio and I was getting the work. She wasn't too worried if I didn't continue with the course. And plus, I could always go back if I didn't
Yeah, there's no
like
stopping
if I
you
wasn't.
if going back if
Yeah.
you wanted to. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
But
think what you're saying is really important for a lot of students because, like you said, you dropped out because you just want to spend more time on doing the jobs that were more relevant to your sort of like vision of fashion
hmm
photography, and you may not have gotten those opportunities at college because they've got like a lot of different colleges or uni will have their own little syllabus, and they'll probably want to focus on their own scheme of what they want to teach in photography. So you're not always going to be guaranteed you're going to get your cup of tea every single time, but I think it's a good place for students who are probably a bit lost and want to build the confidence because you do get that.
100%, yeah.
You do get the safety of having a studio without renting it out
Oh
or
yeah.
hiring it
Yeah, the
out
equipment,
for
yeah.
paying or equipment and all this kind of stuff that's insured, and you don't have to worry about all the other things that we have to as like independent photographers. So I think like if you're thinking about going to uni or college right now, you just got to ask yourself all those questions. Like, do you think you
Yeah, and
can?
the
Yeah.
people you meet as well, like the people that come into the uni, like I met I can't remember, I think she was an agency photography agent, and I met her, and the information I gathered from her, she was just that 1 hour of being in that session alone was really beneficial for me. Even though I look back, I don't think that 4 months of me being at uni was a waste of time, because just that hour alone was all that information
Yeah,
was
definitely. But self-taught is
was
also a
worth
great
it.
avenue because like how much content is on, online for people to learn. We're all making content ourselves, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, and people are constantly learning whether they're coming shadowing you or doing there's loads of different ways to learn now. And I think self-taught is a great way if you don't mind tripping and falling more often, whereas in uni and college you'll probably have a bit of a safer area to make those trips and not feel as bad for it because you know that you're supposed to learn that way. But definitely, I think that where you are right now, especially because you're younger as well, you've just got so much more longevity in this game now because you spent all that time, just making your whole brand image. Like, how's that been? Like, do you think you have to be very like bold with the bets you make in this industry as a photographer?
I think, just 1 second, I don't know. Can I just let him out? What will be a second, please?
Megan's dog, everyone. That's
What
fine.
is it?
That's okay. So, while Megan goes and lets the dog out, I'll try and oh, okay, never mind, she's back.
Sorry, dear. I just didn't want him to start barking.
No, I was
Sorry.
just gonna I was just gonna start like just expanding on what you're saying, but yeah, I'll let you finish. What do you think about like making bets in this industry? So I think you're doing just fine. Making the right timings of like how you left your studies to go become a full-time photographer. Like, do you think you're reaping the benefits now? And what does it take to actually be a full-time photographer? Like, a lot of people think it's very easy, or they can get here very fast. if they start as early as possible. I think that's a good thing as well. If you're very young and you can pick up a camera and you start, as early as possible, you're going to obviously have more longevity. But are there any like misconceptions you want to talk about, like people who want to get in this industry, you just want to like give them like realistic expectations of?
I think people have this expectation where if you're young and you're doing bits that you automatically have this status and you have this you have this kind of I don't really know. I don't Age doesn't mean anything, really. You can start anything at any age.
I mean, yeah, I
Obviously,
started photography only a couple of years ago, and now I'm
and look at
28.
you
So
now.
I
But
started
look
at
at you now.
26.
And like
Uh,
look at Andrew, for example. Andrew's killing it.
yeah,
Andrew's killing
so
it.
there's
Do
a
you know
lot
what I
of
mean?
people
Like,
in our
age doesn't matter.
industry who are just like on a variety of different like scales of like age. I think it's just more about passion, isn't it?
Honestly, yeah, passion means everything.
Yeah, and
But
especially if you're young and passionate, that's like even the best combination there, because you're gonna just spend more time crafting
mhm.
your specialism for a longer time. You won't get like demotivated. So what took you, where you are right now, 22 years old, you're a full-time photographer, you saved up all this money to buy this gear now. What kind of jobs are you tackling now then in the industry, and how are you actually earning from it? Like, what's your normal week schedule like?
So recently, the past couple of months, I've started to work less but earn more. So I've been like lessening my work, but like increasing my financial income. So I've been having less clients, but having a bigger clientele, but less of a clientele, if that made sense.
Kind of working on bigger
So yeah,
projects.
bigger projects. So I say last month I had three of the same clients. Well, maybe I had three of the same big clients, but and then I probably had like four or five, maybe six smaller clients that they're not regulars, like the three clients I have as a regulars. But then regular three clients I have like every month, and then they're my regular income. And then, but then they're the big clients, and then I have um, the smaller clients are still regulars, but they'll be like every other month. So I feel like working in smart, because I feel like also in this industry, being a photographer, well, being a creative and also being self-employed. So being in any industry, but being self-employed, there's this stigma where you have to feel like you have to be working 24/7. Well, one, that's impossible, and two, that's just stupid because how are you supposed to enjoy your life and work 24/7? It's just not
I was
gonna
just
work.
thinking of the time to edit as well, and time to
Exactly.
reflect on the work and
Exactly.
make sure like you might need changes, adjustments. Like
Yeah.
when you say full-time photographer, you're not working every single day. Are you saying that you do like
No.
huge projects and then maybe you spend a few days really trying to like get that project turned over to a client, or like you're
Yeah.
spending time just on the next thing after a few days? Like, what's the deal with it?
Well, I try and have at least 4 days free in the week. Well, 3 or 4, well, I say four, pushing it. 3 or 4 days in the week where I just do nothing. So I definitely don't work Saturdays and Sundays. I definitely don't shoot on Saturdays and Sundays unless the clients like 100% need it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I love spending time with my mum on the weekends. Um, but yeah, so I try and have the Monday, Wednesday, like Thursday or like a Friday. I try and work them days. And then and then I try and stick into a routine of working like a 10 in the morning till like a 4. And I don't normally go past that. Sometimes I'll find myself editing till like 6 or 7 and then I'll have to like stop myself. But because I don't really find it as work.
Yeah, you gotta
Because I'm
be
still
your
in
own
that
manager, don't
mindset of
you?
not, yeah, 'cause sometimes I'm still in that mindset of being like, oh, I am working, I need to stop. But because I'm not in that office, like head space, sometimes I'll be downstairs, I'll be watching a film with my mum, but I'll be editing, and I'll be like, oh, I'm working, I need to stop. And I'll be like, yeah,
Yeah.
no. But
That's an
yeah,
interesting point because, like you're talking about burnout and like that's a hot topic right now in the like
yeah,
especially amongst like a lot of the creatives I speak to, and the more time we spend in right now, the more time we have to ourselves right now. It's like a lot of people obviously have probably, just want to like spend more time either working or time for themselves, but like how do you find the balance between the two?
well, recently, like the past week and a half, I've been really burnt out. To be fair, I think it's the medic. I've just been put on a new medication, so I don't think that's helped. I was put on a new medication last month, and I was just like, yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I just jumped straight into working still, and I think I've just slowly, like, gradually, just been like, oh no, 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 no. So like, I've just kind of booked last week and this week that we're in now. I just booked it, no shoots. So I've been gym every day, and I've still been editing. I've been catching up on the shoots that I had the week prior to last. Um, but I've not had any shoots, so I just kind of been. I've not really been forcing myself to be creative. I've just been just taking time for, catching up on TV programs, just going to the gym, playing on the Xbox, just
I
taking
know
playing with the dog.
it sounds so normal, but like when you work in this industry, sometimes you just feel guilty for doing those kind of things.
All the
When you
time.
get like such a busy schedule, I know there was like weeks where I was shooting every single day, and I was like, okay, well, the faster I turn it over, the faster um
Yeah.
I can get my rewards. Like it's just one of those things where I just realized, well, I do need some time for myself to
Did you get
actually.
addicted to money at one point? Because that's what I was getting like.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously, like I'd say when I had a really bad burnout week where it was just 2 weeks in a row, shooting 6 days a week, and I had a one day off, and I lost so much weight. This was like over summer, and I've
Oh,
put it
you were
all
telling
back
me
on now.
about.
Yeah, I've put it all back on now, because I just made a new regiment where I was like, I'm only going to shoot in certain days and not going to shoot on certain ones. But I didn't realize because I was going to the gym in the morning, and then I was going on like these long hour full day shoots. I'd come back home exhausted, and I just remember just completely burning out, and I just felt like sick, felt like throwing up, all this kind of stuff. And then I think like a month later, I made myself like this little schedule in my Google Calendar, and I was just like, okay, these are my shoot days, these are my off days. I'm just gonna make sure on the off days I have little reminders that just ping on my phone to just have a break, go do normal things, because you just kind
Mhm.
of feel like once a work is complete, you look at this free time and you just think to yourself automatically, I can fill that in with the next piece of work. I can fill that in with the
Yeah.
next piece of work, because then maybe I'll have more money to then go get this next piece of gear or go on holiday or do this or do that. And you just start, there's no end to it, but you got to be your own sort of like boss about it. And obviously everyone has like different tolerances. And I figured out that in that summer, that was my tolerance. Once I got really
Mm.
sick, I was like, that's it. That's where I stop. And I wanted to make sure I stopped even before that. So now I've got a really healthy routine now, and everything's great. I've got like you were saying, I take at least 3 days to 4 days off in the week where I'm just relaxing and just doing my own thing.
Yeah, but I feel like Instagram for that is so toxic. I feel like
That's
people
yeah.
make it I feel like people on Instagram make you feel so guilty for that, and I feel like we spoke about that before. Like
Yeah. I mean,
we've had to mute a few people off the stories
I
because we
I
feel
don't
like
I don't
we
mind
can't.
I don't mind people being busy. I think at the end of the day, you're only in charge of like what you can do, and you can only
Mm,
control what you see and what you don't. But it's a great way of, like you said, like filtering out the noise. Instagram gives you all these options to curate a feed, curate your own way of absorbing information. And if you're guilty of constantly looking and falling into the rabbit hole of, right, everybody looks busy and I don't, I need to now make sure I do as well to keep
yeah.
up with the crowd,
That,
or else,
that is the key for burnout. I don't think it's you. I think it's you putting pressure
on
from
yourself.
seeing other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and it all starts with us, I get really motivated by other people working, but then I also feel really guilty when I'm not working, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think back to my calendar. I'm like, well, your calendar for a freelancer is not linear. It's so like peaks and troughs, and when you actually accumulate all the days you work, you're like, well, damn, I actually did work quite a lot. So yeah, these days where
Mm-hmm.
I'm off, I deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think what I do anyway, I can only speak on myself. Like what's been really good for me is just um, timing out on social media has been really good. I'm
Yeah.
doing as much as I can to just not go on Instagram unless it's for work, not go on there unless I'm doing like engagement and socials. Um, I give myself like little time slots throughout the day where I'll have hours on like social media, and like iOS shows you like the charts of you just kind of going down and down on screen time.
My screen time the past 2 weeks has got dropped dramatically.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice and healthy, and like I think if you speak to a lot of the, I don't know, traditional older photographers, I'm pretty sure they didn't grow up in this age of like social media, constantly being exposed to everyone's work and process, which is kind of a double-edged sword because I love absorbing ideas from so many people. I love looking at
Mm.
what people are doing behind the scenes. I love looking at the stories. I love seeing, what the next move is. It's really like motivating. But at the same time, you're always questioning yourself like, am I doing enough? Am I doing this? And if you're someone who's really sensitive and don't have much control over like how much you need to work, then yeah, you could end up like me and just burning out, or like yourself, or like just loads of other people in this
That's
industry.
100% my 2021 goal.
Yeah, not to burn out as much.
Yeah, I just need to work on that on myself.
And I think I like what you said, work smart, because this idea of, okay, is the answer to success looking like you're constantly working every day, or is the answer to success living a healthy life but still retaining all those financial like opportunities, but for a smarter way? You could be looking at yourself, why am I doing all of this work when I could be doing, like you said, you're doing like smaller amounts of work, but they're huge projects, and that
Yeah.
takes time to get there. You're not going to get there overnight, but it's like you said, you're not in any rush to get there, are you?
No. No, it's took a long time. Like, it's only been the past 6 months that's really been happening, which again, I've probably been, and to be fair, one of these jobs was really random how I got it. It was from a client, it was from word of mouth from a client that I had last year who I haven't spoken to since that shoot, and they passed my name on to this other client, and then now I've got regular jobs where I'm earning, like, it was just so random, but I was so grateful for it. It
that
was
that's
just
that's that's the reward you're reaping right now, and I think like burnout will always be some part of everyone's journey, and I think we all have to experience it to then learn how to you
yeah.
know control it afterwards. And I think it's a good experience, like you said, that initial hunger for like constant work is great, but I think like we're having this conversation now, and like many other people are online. I think it's good to just talk about these things and just let people know that everyone is suffering, and you may not see it online on Instagram because Instagram's kind of seen as like the main portfolio where you want to show your highlights, because if you show your failures, you're obviously seen as not competent, you're not well,
Mhm.
efficient for your job, and it's a shame really, but that's just how it is. That's just how it's built, it's designed to
Yeah.
grab attention, and people's success and their rich stories grab a lot more attention than someone just tripping and falling, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sucks.
But I'm glad you're healthy. I'm glad you got your own little routine in the morning,
You know
gymming,
what?
and
Drinking so much more water now is drinking so
yes,
much more
stay
water.
hydrated, people.
Yeah.
I've got my bottle of water here as well. But yeah, 100%. I think as a photographer, a lot of people don't realize this. We're talking about mental burnout, but the physical burnout is, like you're obviously on your feet, you're walking around, you're carrying like people's like, your gear, maybe suitcases of like clothing if you're shooting
Mhm.
for like brands as a fashion photographer. It requires a lot of energy. So like just make sure you're getting a good amount of sleep,
Yeah.
eating, exercising, just doing anything you can just keep yourself physically healthy, because it is such a strenuous job on your body, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I also
Like,
say find a hobby as well that's not anything
yeah.
related to it.
Yeah, I don't know if you all can see it, but I've got ukuleles on my wall, and yeah, I've been playing those for over
What a
eight
dream.
years. Yeah, and I've got the most random hobbies, you know what I mean? Like you said, you plug out, you probably watch TV, film, play games, go to the
Mhm.
gym, and I'm like the exact same. I've got my own little deck of hobbies that I try and invest in afterwards because
Got your
you don't want
PS5
to.
now.
Oh yeah, disclaimer: I got the PS5. Yeah, yeah, I'm just bashing that right now. It's great, and I feel no guilt for it because that was difficult to get. But yeah, you do need to get that zone in your daytime where it doesn't feel like you're clocking out of work only to go back into work.
Yeah.
Because you do the same work where you live, you know, like editing on your laptop. It's like, oh, it's really like easy to just go back into that swing. But I do understand a lot of the counterpoints that people might bring to this sort of discussion. It's like, well, it's easy, they'll probably just like, you know, okay, that's easy for you to say, but, you know, I've got turnover time, and if I don't deliver, I'm going to get, you know, my reputation on the line, or, you know, my relationship's going to get, you know, jeopardized with the client, or, you know, my client's so big that the turnover has to be fast. And that's,
Yeah, I understand that, but if you make it clear from the start that this is like the communication from the start is this is the contract. This is how this is my turnover time. So my turnover time's a week. My turnover time's 4 days. This is when you're gonna get them. Like you can't really argue with that then.
that's a
Like,
great point.
do
I
you know what
think
I
a lot of
mean?
people don't realize that you can make contracts, and a lot of
Yeah.
this, I think a lot of, like I was saying, the difference between an experienced photographer and a new photographer, regardless of age, it's like just knowing things like that. I bet, like, you know, if you're, if you have a contract and you have terms that you both agree on, then there's not never going to be like that whole like
Yeah.
surprise turnover where it's like, okay, I need this by the next day. And you're like, oh no,
'Cause I
what?
had that. I had that with the when I told you about that client the other day, didn't I? Did I tell you? Was it you?
I
Yeah.
think you've told me about many scenarios, and I think we've
Yeah.
all been through it. Like, you know, everyone's like had a like surprise turnover date where things just happen. That's quite normal, you know. Like say like it's a seasonal trend, or like Black Friday's coming, or something just has to get out really fast, and we need the
Yeah,
content.
and we're
Things like
like
that
we're
just
human,
happen.
we understand, but like again, we're human. We have other things to be doing. We're not robots. We breathe. We need to eat, sleep, shower,
Yeah,
gym.
photography is, I think, going to be one of those things that doesn't get taken over by robots so soon. I
I
know,
hope so.
like,
I
I
hope
know we
not.
got like driving cars coming soon around the corner, but yeah, maybe it might do one day. But I think that's what I enjoy about photography. Like, it's such an art in it, and you know, going away from burnout, like, what would you describe your style to people? I'm just going to pull up Megan's work
Oh
on the
God.
screen.
It depends what mood I'm in. If you scroll a little bit further down.
So tell people about your work, because we've just been talking about obviously like, you know, burnout in the industry, but like a lot of people, like you said, your whole style is portrait photography.
Mm,
What made you want
yeah.
to do portrait
So
photography?
I don't really know. Kind of. I don't. I love taking pictures of. I love people. I love talking to people. I love learning about people. I love knowing people's hobbies. I love getting to know people's backgrounds, cultures,
Mm-hmm.
where people grew up, and I just kind of love. I just love talking to people. I love talking. I love getting to know people. I just love talking.
You also love black and white, I can see.
I love black and white. I love black and white. Yeah, if you scroll down a little bit, there is a picture of Grace. If you can
This
see
one?
that to the right. Yeah, if you on that. That one's
Sweet.
from my favorite black and white picture.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I think, like, I don't know. I mean, like, how do you describe your work? Is it very studio based? Is it very editorial? Is it very location? Is it a mixture? It's like a mixture of
Um,
everything, isn't it?
yeah, so I
Mm.
would say it's more editorial
Mm-hmm.
rather than because I do go in the studio every now and again, but and I do mess with street every now and again. Most of these are shot as street, like the photo shoot is a street shoot, but I turn the black. I do edit
Just
it
adds that
like
little
editorial.
like
Yeah,
pinch of like
like
editorial
majority
magazine vibes, isn't it?
these the top four. These
Yeah.
were street photo shoots for portfolios.
Yeah,
But
so you were doing portfolio updates for models
yeah, these were
and
portfolio updates, and I was kind of like, oh, can we just do a quick black and white? Like at the end, I think we had like 5 minutes, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. Um,
so you have certain shots that you know are going to do really well in black and white.
Yeah, there was one, that one in the, ooh, where is it? Yeah, if you go down a little bit, I don't think it's black and white, I think it's sepia. Yeah, that one where he sat on the
This
ledge.
one?
Yeah,
That one's really nice.
yeah, that one. I knew
It's very
straight away.
like candid and natural, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, basically, it was the end of the shoot. I love Eunice, is great. And he was like, Meg, just style me. And I was like, right, just show me what you've got, what we've not worn yet. And he pulled out some boots,
Hmm.
and he had some like Dickies pants, and then the Palm Angels t-shirt, and then the bucket hat. And I was like, right, throw that on, get in the middle of there, sit on there. And then I was like, okay. And then I shot it. I think I shot it actually in color. I think I
Yeah, and
shot it
then
in
you did
color
it in post
and then did it in
in the
post,
edit.
yeah. But I knew what I wanted in um before I shot it. I knew I wanted it in sepia. I didn't want it in black and white. I knew I wanted sepia.
I think all your
But
shots look really good in black and white, and especially I think my favorite shots here is always like the studio ones because you just know how to play with lighting really well, and that's
yeah,
something
you were there on that
on.
shoot.
Yeah, it was. I saw this happen in real time, guys. I can vouch for it. Yeah, like very talented with the lighting, and that's something I want to learn a lot more going into 2021. Studio. I mean, I'm obviously doing a lot of studio shoots, but this is a lot more, like you said, editorial, like magazine, experimental,
hmm
kind of like working with like some classic lighting techniques. Whereas a lot of the stuff I do in studio is just quite ecom, and um, so
Ecom
it's
can be
just.
hard though. Ecom can be hard to get the lighting perfect.
Yeah, I think the
That's
biggest
off
constraint
you.
on ecom is just like time, isn't it? Like time
Well, yeah,
is
as
your is
well.
your biggest is your biggest crunch there,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
you change the lighting setup for like different scenarios and different things. But yeah, I think when I saw you do this shoot, it was really nice just seeing how you bounce the light on like the
hmm
shadows and the crevices. It was just like so 3D. I was like, oh my god.
What I always
Um,
say with studio with the lighting, it
mhm.
sounds really simple. I always just say point the light where you want it,
Just
and
experiment with
where
it.
you don't want the light, don't put the light. That's what I always say, but
Yeah.
it sounds so simple and stupid, but
It's
that's
like you
how.
said, as someone who's self-taught like yourself, it's a great way to learn. And some of the advantages you'll get at uni is like the little shortcuts because like your teachers or the experts will know all about these different lighting setups. So it's like you can go in knowing what to do. But
Yeah,
there's like it's like you said, like if you've got the comfort and the time to experiment in a studio, it's just so much fun. Like when you actually do all the lighting, it just all comes together. So wicked, man. Like you're working with a lot of models, agencies, brands, and that's how you pretty much get yourself into a full-time photography gig, yeah?
yeah,
Awesome.
100%.
So what kind of advice would you give to, let's say, people just starting out, people who are less experienced, how did you get yourself these industry links and how did you eventually end up working for like a modeling agency? How did you end up getting all these requests for like clients that you can have contracts with, retainers, all this kind of stuff?
It was definitely networking, 100%. Definitely networking. Modeling agency, how I got with them, networking. Um, Big friend of mine, Sam Perkins, known him since I first ever started. Then
A
he
very lovely
started.
guy, I can
I
vouch.
love him to death. One of my best friends. He then started working at Nemesis and then got me the job at Nemesis. Well, freelance at Nemesis. And then when it comes to like the retainer jobs, again, that one of my retainer clients comes through networking again. So, like I said, the job that I did last year, in 2019, like very early 2019, um, I think it was for a clothing brand that was like in Sports Direct. They passed my name on to this other brand for this year, who contacted me. I think it was August. I can't remember, around about that time, just summertime. And now they use me. Now they use me monthly or like every couple of weeks, which is really good because they use me for a retainer. So that's, if people don't know what a retainer is, that's like how you use your regular. So that's more like a regular income. So yeah,
Yeah, that's a great way of just kind of guaranteeing that your job's going to be fully
yeah,
sustainable. And
it's a better
it's,
way of not having to work all the time as well.
yeah, because you just got to ask yourself, like, how much do you need? Like, what's your goal? Is it
Mhm.
to have wealth, or is it to have excess amounts of wealth? And once you figure that out, you just know how much you need to work, and then you can pretty much, like we were talking about, figure out what the safe zones are for your amount of work, so you don't burn out, but doing as much as you can, so you're always delivering, always getting your name passed around in the industry. It's really hard to find that balance, because it's like, you don't want to be less ambitious, but you also don't want to burn yourself out, so then you just
Mhm.
can't work anymore. Like, you do all these huge amounts of projects, but then you're gonna have weeks where you don't work, and then you might miss out on opportunities when you're not working at that point. It's really difficult, isn't it? Like, the freelance gig is just, there is no blueprint for it, and I think everyone just has to find their own feet in it. But there definitely is, like, a lot of experienced people in this industry, and I shadowed a lot of people, including you, when I was first starting out, and it was just one of the easiest ways. I just picked up a lot of information. So if you're
Yeah.
looking to get industry links, like, that's probably the best way, isn't it? Just build relationships with, like,
There's no
experienced
but
people.
there's no rule, but you have to. If it's easy if you have confidence, and if you don't have confidence, pretend that you're confident. That's the best advice I can possibly give someone.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, pretend that you know what you do. That I don't know what I'm doing ever. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I just pretend I know what I'm doing, and literally that's how I get through my job.
Well, you're killing it, and obviously
Thanks.
the results are paying
You're killing
off.
it too.
We're all getting there slowly but surely. We're making it happen. What's your goals going into 2021 then? Where do you see yourself? Hopefully, once we
2021.
come out of all this crazy situation, like, what does normality and even more success look like for you?
I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, to be fair. The first 2 months, I want to learn frequency separation and dodge and
What
burning properly.
frequency separation? Let's talk about what is that.
Retouching. I want to learn like retouching in depth.
Okay.
So frequency separation, dodge and burning. The proper names for retouching. And I also
You heard it here first, ladies and gents.
yeah, I
Frequency
wanted
separation. You can't say airbrushing anymore.
I want to get in the studio more as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't really done that. I've been focusing more on getting clients this year rather because
Yeah,
I
I
feel
mean,
like that was
it has
more
been
the aim for the
difficult as well,
yeah.
because a lot of the studios were just kind of opening and closing and things like that.
Mhm.
So it's mad though that we've still been able to get a lot of opportunities. So like you said, like, the demand for content is still there, regardless of how closed the economy is. Like, you can still find ways
Yeah.
to generate a niche, to then make money off it, to then build your brand off it, to then just live off it. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, wicked. Well, it was fun having you on. I think that we're
Thank you for
just
having me, mate.
about getting
I've
to the
been,
40
been
minute
looking
mark.
forward to this.
Yeah, I know. It's been such a long time that I wanted to get you on. And then I just wanted to make sure it was like we both had free time, because I know how busy you always are as well.
Yeah,
But
I know.
hey,
Because you've
we
been
got,
burnt out this week. Perfect time for us both.
yeah, it was a good conversation. I hope a lot of people take away some knowledge from it. And is there anything else you have to say to anyone else? Or
Um, no, just everyone keep their head up during this hard time and keep creating.
hell yeah. And stay safe. And we'll
Yeah,
see you
everyone stay
guys
safe. Mask.
on the next one. We'll definitely get a project going together. I know I just did one with
Yeah.
Sophia recently. I want to make my way around to just everyone else, just kind of get some collabs. So, are you going to start a YouTube channel? What's with the come on, you need to start a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. 2021. All
Put
right.
that on your list.
All right. I'll start when it's 2021.
Okay, I'll hold you to that,
That'll be
man.
my goal. That'll be my Lent goal thing.
Wicked, dude. Go take care of your dog. I'll catch you later.
He's at
See
the
you
door
later.
waiting for
Is
me.
it? All right.
Yeah.
See you later, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Timeout. Don't forget to support each guest by checking out their work in the description. And you can also support the show with a like, subscribe, and hitting that notification bell. Till then, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.